Broncos country, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We're going to take a look at today the defensive grades, taking a look from PFF, how the Broncos performed or didn't perform, however you want to look at it, against the LA Chargers, and just getting an idea of who do we really need to see bounce back here in 2 days against the New Orleans Saints. Love the fact that this is a short week because we need to get that loss, that taste out of our mouth, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. Of course, y'all like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? So, highest graded player was actually Levi Wallace, somebody that we saw come in for an injured Pat Surtain really after the first or second defensive play when Pat Surtain went out. You see here, 92 overall defensive grade, bad tackling grade. So I guess he must have had a missed tackle. We'll go through his stat line here in a minute, but 92.1 coverage grade. So yeah, you can see 1 for 2 on tackles, 3 targets, 2 receptions, but only gave up 14 yards. So that's really nice. NFL passer rating 77.1 when targeted. You'll always take that. We saw him play that boundary corner role, still keeping Jaquan McMillan there inside the slot for the majority of his snaps. As you can see, McMillan here had 30 snaps in the slot or 38 snaps in the slot and then 30 on the boundary. That's kind of interesting. So we'll get into some of the specifics on coverage grade against every single wide receiver, right? But overall, Levi Wallace was the top performing player. We also saw Malcolm Roche grade out really well. He was somebody that had 5 total tackles on the day, 1 stop. I did think that he played pretty well. We also saw Jonathan Cooper get on the stat sheet, and man, he was a boss. 60 total snaps. You see he 81.6 grade, Malcolm Roche 87.1. Forgot to mention that, but Jonathan Cooper, 3 pressures, a sack, 2 hurries, 5 tackles, 4 stops. He was one of our best players on the day, no doubt about it. Brandon Jones, I think, played a team high 70 snaps and had a good grade in coverage, 77.5. 76.2 on the day. But overall, I just thought it's kind of funny. 2 of our secondary players were some of the top graded guys. I thought that we just had a rough day tackling and in run support, especially from our secondary when we were going out, when the Chargers were going outside, going from sideline to sideline so much. But you can see Brandon Jones, he had 11 solo tackles, 2 assisted, so 13 total. He did miss 1, but that's a small percentage, 7.1%, 2 stops. It's nice to see Brandon Jones getting a lot of tackles, but that's usually a symptom of a larger problem, which was that I don't think our front 7 did a good enough job stopping the run and containing J.K. Dobbins and everything the Chargers were doing from a rushing standpoint. You never want to see your safety lead in tackles for the most part. Usually that's a sign of having a weak run defense, as we've seen, like last year, Justin Simmons, would have a ton of tackles for us in a certain amount of these games. I'm not going to go through everybody here, but we'll go through the top 5 specifically. Jonah Ellis, he had 31 total snaps. He graded out pretty well in everything, in coverage, in tackling, a little bit less in pass rush, 61.4, but a 75.7 grade overall. He had a batted ball, which was great, a tackle and an assisted tackle, so 2 total tackles. Didn't generate any pressures, though, and that's where you'd like to see him step up. We definitely needed a pass rush in a game like this, especially against Justin Herbert on 3rd down, and we just didn't really have it. John Franklin Myers was generating pressure, though. 4 total pressures, 1 hit, 3 hurries, 3 total tackles. But again, we were not great in the run defense category, right? And when we go down here to the rest of the team, a lot of the guys that have been some of our highest graded out players from a week to week basis, that they were not. Nick Bonino, really rough game. Our lowest graded player on defense. Yikes. He had 3 missed tackles. That is ugly. 3 missed tackles on 3 attempts. You can't have that. We need a bounce back game from Nick Bonito this Thursday. No doubt about it. It was great to see him get on the stat sheet with a sack though, but you can't have a 100% missed tackle rate. That's bad. Speaking of 100% missed tackle rate, Dondre Tillman 0 for 1 as well. You don't like to see that. Riley Moss had 2 missed tackles. PJ Locke had 2 missed tackles. We remember seeing some of those throughout the game. It really stuck out. But Jaquan McMillan, bad in coverage. Riley Moss, bad in coverage. Devon Key, not a great grade in coverage either. So this is something that we definitely got to clean up. I think overall we just got to be a much better tackling team this week against New Orleans if we're gonna get this win in a very tough road environment, obviously. But 10 total missed tackles. I mean, that's embarrassing, and that doesn't even account for just guys not even being in position to make a tackle there to stop a run for a short gain or at the line. The you know 10 minimum, 10 minimum were bad plays. I think we had many more than just 10 bad plays in terms of the missed tackles. And y'all know, I mean, we were atrocious on third down until the fourth quarter. I think the Chargers were damn near perfect on third down. Just terrible. It didn't matter how long of a distance it was. But let's go ahead and focus in a little bit on the run defense here. Strnad, Roche, Barton, Franklin Myers, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, Owazarike, Ellis, like all these guys performed pretty well in terms of the run defense. But again, a lot of our guys that we would expect to be really good in helping against the run, we just didn't get that. Nick Bonito, Christian Welsh, Jordan Jackson, Brandon Jones, DJ Jones, Riley Moss, one of our best tackling players. PJ Locke was the lowest graded run defender, and Jaquan McMillan. When you're having guys like these, DJ Jones, Riley Moss, Jaquan McMillan, PJ Locke, kind of fall towards the bottom end of the grade sheet, that's never going to be good. And remember, you got to take these grades with a grain of salt. But I do think that it provides at least somewhat of a frame of reference for kind of how some of these guys performed. Jaquan McMillan, 2 penalties, so in run play, so that's something to keep in mind as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, 6 missed tackles in the run. We got to be better than that. No doubt about it. All right, let's take a look a little bit more at pass rush just to see if there was anything else that really stuck out here. It was nice to generate 4 sacks. It really didn't seem like we were getting much pressure on Justin Herbert, strangely, throughout the game. But 14 hurries, 2 hits, 4 sacks. Like, you'll take that pretty much every week. But I guess we could probably take a look at Justin Herbert's numbers against pressure. He was probably very good because he was completing a lot of these second and long and third and long situations here for us. And this is something kind of surprising here in the true pass sets, as you can see here. It's almost like, I mean, Nick Bonino was even worse in true pass sets. Jonah Ellis's grade went down. Malcolm Roche's grade went down. Who else? Yeah, Zach Allen. Jonathan Cooper, DJ Jones stepped up. But yeah, when you're having a little bit of a bump from John Franklin Myers, but again, like Zach Allen, Jonah Ellis, Nick Bonino, like you want to see these guys really be at their best in true pass set situations, and they weren't. Let's take a look at the coverage mashups here, and then will end this thing. But you can see Riley Moss, 59.6 grade in coverage, gave up 4 receptions, 71 yards, 4 first downs. That's always really difficult. Sternad was not great either. Um, 5 for 5 when targeting him was Justin Herbert. Jaquan McMillan, 48.8 grade. He gave up 3 receptions on 4 targets for 40 yards and a first down. Levi Wallace, at least he was good against Quentin Johnston and Simi Fehoko. Fehoko is another bigger wide receiver out of Stanford that's been in the league for a few years now. I think he got his start with the Cowboys. Big play wide receiver. Levi Wallace did his job against him. But against Quentin Johnson, gave up 2 receptions, 14 yards, but one of those, again, a first down. Cody Barton, this is where I expect him to be much better. I mean, you saw him just get burned on that wheel route against Kamani Vidal out of the backfield for that touchdown. That was a tough one, 38 yards. Darius Davis had a nice catch against him as well, and then Will Disley had a first down. So Cody Barton was targeted 3 times. Herbert completed all 3 of those targets for 66 yards, 2 first downs, and a touchdown. Oh man, I'm sure these guys are pissed off after seeing this, because we know these guys have performed much better. PJ Locke, 1 for 2, 10 yards, and a first down. Again, when these guys were giving up their 1 or 2 receptions when targeted, they were always for first downs. That's how it felt. Again, Pat Surtain did his job on Ladd McConkey for 1 play. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. Brandon Jones on Will Disley gave up 1 reception for 5 yards. You'll take that every time. We contained Ladd McConkey. I think he got a little banged up. But I mean, they didn't have a lot of production, but it's just insane. Like, Ladd McConkey had 4 receptions, 2 first downs. Will Disley had 4 receptions, 1 first down. Simi Fehoko had 2 receptions, 2 first downs. Quentin Johnston, 3 receptions, 1 first down. Darius Davis, no first downs. J.K. Dobbins killed us in the run game, but we managed him in the passing game. But Josh Palmer, 2 receptions, 2 first downs. Kamani Vidal, 2 receptions, 1 first down, and a touchdown. Yeah. Again, they didn't have like a ton of receiving production. Granted, more than what they've had throughout the first 5 games or 4 games for them. But you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I mean, their passing game was responsible for 10 first downs. And that's when they were running the ball very, very well for a lot of these conversions too. So again, we were just bad holding these guys, behind the sticks. That's my biggest takeaway here. And what I guess we can take a look too and just see how Justin Herbert did against pressure. See, he kept everything in front of him, man. Like, he didn't even need to throw deep. He was just so good from the line of scrimmage in between 20 yards. He was fantastic again. Under pressure. Oh man. Yeah, we got to him. 45% completion. When kept clean, he had a TD. When blitzed, they must have picked it up because he had 117 yards and a touchdown when blitzed, man. Oh my gosh. Crazy. And this is kind of surprising too. Average depth of target under pressure was 11.3. Highest out of all these metrics here. He was bad on play action. Kind of interesting, but yeah, when Justin Herbert was just able to drop back, he had some good success against us, no doubt about it. And you can see, I mean, just killed us in the medium portion of the field. 6 of 9 for 117 yards and a touchdown. 13 yards per attempt. Gosh. That's tough, and you can see 6 first downs in that medium range. Quite impressive, from Justin Herbert. He definitely had his best game of the season against us. So, as you can see, guys, a lot that we need to be better at. I think that our coverage needs to be better. Credit to Jeremy for pointing out yesterday how we need to we went into a lot of zone after Sertan went out. I think we got out of our game plan from Vance Joseph and Sean Payton, and we got enough cover guys to be successful. Let's have these guys match up man to man. Let's not get out of what we do well defensively, even if we can't be at our best with Pat Surtain out. Let's stick to our guns. Let's play the way in which we've been playing. Let's stay true to our identity, and if we can get 75% of or 60% of where we're at without Pat Surtain, I'll take that every time, instead of giving up 10, 15, a 20 play drive, right? So y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Really do appreciate you guys. I'll be back later going over the offensive grades, and go Broncos.